Hi, good evening all. Welcome to another episode of Community Generated. I got a request and I got off my lazy bones and said I'm going to make a video, all right? So maybe I'll make two, depends. But let's take a look at this request, guys. It's a good one. Here we go. Okay, from S. Taylor. Request, Wayne, how about doing a video of the top 10 Sabres prospects that we expect to see in the NHL over the next 2 years, with a question mark, either playing for Buffalo or traded, and playing in the NHL for another team. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to call you ST because I don't know if you're Samantha Taylor or Stephen Taylor, so I'll just call you ST. ST, what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you a few clips and we'll look at it. Because these are the obvious ones. You got to figure, you're asking me for 10, right? Do I think 10 of our prospects are going to be on our team in 2 years? Probably not. This isn't the mess that we walked into with Ralph Krueger. Well, we didn't really have much of a choice but to start building as soon as possible because of what happened there. Now we can really pick and choose what we put on this squad, right? So let's take a look. Let's look at this clip. And there's what I talked about earlier, guys, when I was talking about the entry levels earlier today. So I was wrong. I said 6 or 7. Actually, Adams had 8 people signed in. My goodness, he was a busy bee getting all these contracts done. So let's take a look at it. You know, you're looking at 18, 19, 20. And I even threw in Zetterquist there, too, at 22 years old. Can they be playing elsewhere? Absolutely, they could. These are the names, guys. Kulich, Ostlund, Savoy, Rosen, Bloom, Kisakov, Nadeau, Zetterquist, and Kozak. So I just named off 9 names there. That's 9. I'm going to give you 12, okay? Or I'll call you Taylor. Put your first name so I know you. I'll call you Taylor. Taylor, let's take a look at three other clips and then we'll talk about it, because the thing is, what you ask is very realistic. You know, you're saying expect to see in the NHL over the next few years either playing for Buffalo or traded. And you're right about saying that. You're absolutely bang on about saying that. As much as we want to keep all our prospects, we're not going to have all these 12 players come right onto the team. It's not going to happen. Some of them are. I'd say about 6. Okay, let's look at the, or maybe even a bit more. I'm wrong saying 6, maybe about 8. Let's look at 3 other clips. Devon Levi, without a doubt, I want to see become a Buffalo Sabre. If you look at his numbers this year, they've dropped. I'm going to be making a video on him eventually, folks. Yes, I'm not going to hide the fact that Devon Levi's numbers have dropped a little this year. I'm going to show you how and why in an upcoming video. Probably be a Sabres to the Future video. We'll talk about Devon Levi soon enough. Next clip. Next is Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson. This is a question mark, folks. This is really a question mark. I'm not too sure where we stand with this guy. I just don't know. You know, look, after the Whistle had reported that talks with his camp did not go good. So that's all I know about that. Doesn't mean he won't become a Buffalo Sabre. It just feels like it won't, but you know, we've been wrong before with that. So let's just see. Let's see how it plays out by the end of the year with him. And next one, Eric Portillo. Another one that we just don't know what's going on. These are all good prospects, these 3. So that's the question mark, right? Some of these guys will not be Buffalo Sabres that I just showed in these clips. They will not all become Buffalo Sabres. They won't. That's the numbers game of the NHL. Some guys will be moved on. Some guys will cut the team. If I was to give you a few, actually, let me just throw some names at you. I think of the 3 of the solo clips, I think Devon Levi will become a Sabre. And on the bigger clip, Kulich, Ostlund, Savoy, I think will become Buffalo Sabres. Rosen, I'm not sold on. Josh Bloom, I think he'll become a Sabre. So that's 4 off that list so far. Kisakov, don't know. I'm not sold on it. I don't know. You know, like I just don't know what to feel about that. Oliver Nadeau, that's another one. So I'm up to 5 there. And Sederquist, I don't think so for some reason, but who knows? And Tyson Kozak, which I like what I seen in the prospects camp earlier this year. I like what I seen. Possible, but I would say 5 off there and 6 with. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I got 5. I got 5 on here. And say 6. I'll say 6 of these guys. Throw one in there. Throw a random one in. And with Devin Levi, 7. 6 or 7, okay? Let's leave it at 6 or 7. I think 6 or 7 of these 12 will become Buffalo Sabres. So about half. Because, guys, there's nothing wrong with these guys not becoming Buffalo Sabres eventually, not if we can take 2 or 3 of them and get ourselves one hell of a hockey player. That's the way it goes in the NHL. You have to give up sometimes youth to get talent. You just do. And the Sabres right now are, I think, in a position that we have not been in such a long time of making the playoffs, that if we have a chance to push and get in this year, we should take our chances. And not give up the farm. Don't get me wrong. Not give up the farm. I'm not saying you go and you give up like 3 pieces and a first rounder to get a Timo Meier. No. I don't want to do that. That I don't want to do. No, because then we're stuck having to give this guy like 8 or 9 million after. No. I don't want to go that route. I'd rather get somebody else in the $5 million range, something like that, if we're going to give up a few assets and hang on to our first. Because the thing is, these assets become assets, not just pieces on the Buffalo Sabres. Some of these become assets to acquire other pieces on the Buffalo Sabres. It's just the way hockey works. You know, it is. It's like, that's why when these young guys, I love getting draft picks, guys, because you start getting these young guys and they start doing really well and they weren't picked in the first round, you can trade them like first round assets if you develop them right, you know, when you move them out of town. So I think what Taylor talks about here with the 10 pieces, the smart thing that Taylor puts in that request is that on the Sabres or traded, because the odds are some will be traded. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I know some of you have mentioned you want Rosen out of town. I think it's a little soon to write him off, but you know, hey, look, it's we just got to see what we have here eventually. Not everything's going to pan out, even though we got them signed. But don't forget, Adams signed these guys with the intent of them becoming Buffalo Sabres. And the ones that won't become Buffalo Sabres, we ship them out. We ship them out. They're prospects. They're not like busts. There's absolute no proofs anybody's a bust till he plays like 3-4 years in the NHL. And even then they become late bloomers. Ask Tage Thompson. It really depends on the person. It depends on the training. It depends even on the team that they're on, the circumstance. So look, I like what we're doing here with our youth. I do. I love what we're doing. But I also realize that we're going to have to give up some of it to get something eventually. We're going to have to. If we're going to continue building this team in the right direction, we don't got 5 years to wait for some of these guys to develop. We don't have the time, because then the other guys on this team, we're wasting those years too, where we could just go and acquire somebody instantly for 2 or 3 pieces who just brings into our dressing room right away what we need at the right price. This is why with the Timo Meier thing, or even the Erik Karlsson talks, I'm not crazy on it at all, guys. I'm just not. I wouldn't want to give up a bunch of assets for Erik Karlsson. I think that would be a stupid mistake, in my opinion. That's just how I feel. I don't want to go get some guy in his 30s and give up a ton to get him, and he's already making a ton of money. He's only making $1 million less than Connor McDavid. I think that would be a horrible mistake. So that's where I stand. Unless you get him for half retained. Then you can think about it, right? You bring Erik Karlsson, even then, the contract ends when he's like 38 or something. Ugh, I'd be hesitant. I would be. So this is where I stand with this. So in a nutshell, Taylor, half of them. Half of these will probably be Buffalo Sabres. 3 or 4 will be traded out, and 2 will be career AHLers maybe. We'll see. All right, guys, done for this one. I'll see you in the next one.